what's the state, I heard you mention the state rep?
The state so the state rep obviously represents 11 towns in the district, and has experience with these other pilots. Obviously, the town of Templeton does not have experience doing solar ray pilot programs. What she was saying was she saw the amount of ours and compared it with what Orange just got, which was more than 2 times what ours is, and said that it may be in the best, you may want to think about passing over this, or not making a motion on this because of the fact that neighboring communities have gotten, again, not a little bit more, but twice what you're getting. This may be something that you want to look at. And another Selectman Farrell, I know, had said at town meeting that a rep approached her as well. So what the state rep has to do with this is the state rep is someone who is obviously above me and knows more about these type of things than I do. So if she is telling me that before you commit the town to something for 20 years, you may want to check and see why Orange, why all the neighboring communities are getting more than 2 times what you are before you make a 2-decade commitment on behalf of the taxpayers. My house may be sold long before other people in the community are dealing with this.
I can see that. Let me give you my opinion. This article did not pass at the town meeting. And you say now you gotta maybe wait until the next town meeting or a special meeting to bring this article up again. The town voted the last town meeting, the town voted, and with a good substantial majority, not to pass this. And if you would look at it, and anyone else will look at this, here you have a company who is going to, they're going to be able to, well, if they have say they have a set rate in lieu of taxes, they're in good shape because once they have that figure, they know what it is. They don't have to worry about paying taxes, and they don't have any other expenses along those lines. And they're good in this contract. Let me read this. Just this part of it. The town agrees that the payments in lieu of taxes will not be increased on account of an inflation factor, that was my question,
yep,
or increase in the town's tax rate, which factors have been anticipated by the parties and are reflected in Exhibit 8. What's the question? There's no...
What do you mean, what? Well, I don't want to spend too much more time on this because it's not, yeah.
Yeah. I think the next step that should happen with this contract is that it be forwarded to the Department of Revenue, the Bureau of Land Assessment, so they can look at the contract, look at the wording, and see if it's going to pass their rules and regulations as far as energy production. It's changed since the rules that were in place in September when the Board of Selectmen voted on it. Okay? If the Department of Revenue does not approve that wording and it needs to be changed, then that contract needs to be changed. Because if they can give us all the money in the world, but if the Department of Revenue won't allow us to put it on the tax recap sheet, we can't use that money. Okay? So the next step that should happen with that contract is that it goes to the experts, which is the Department of Revenue. They're the ones who will decide whether it meets their test on how it should be assessed or not. Not me. I don't know how to do that.
Okay. You voted for it.
I voted for it in September because the rules were different in September. That's
yeah. And again, because this isn't, I'll be happy to put this on another agenda if you'd like, but I don't want to spend any more time on it, seeing as how it isn't an agenda item for today's. But I'd be happy to put that. I'll use that as my selectman comment today.
Put it where?
On the agenda for our next meeting. By law, we can't take action on measures that are not on the agenda. This isn't on the agenda, so we can act it. So I can add, yeah, so I can add it to an agenda so that we can discuss it, we can get more information, so that then we're prepared to speak on this particular issue more.
Thank you.
Yep, sure. Happy to do that. So the next item that we have on our agenda, if the board votes to do so, I find under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21-2, that it is necessary to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Do I have a motion to move into executive session for those purposes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. We have a first and a second. We can vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We will reconvene and go back into open session before we close out, but other than Selectmen's comments, this is the last item that is on our agenda for today. But again, we will reconvene before closing out the meeting. So at this time, we will move into executive session. Holly, if you could please, then once everyone leaves, shut and change the sign.